Hello. Just setting stuff up. If there's anyone there, still trying to work out the sound balance. Hopefully it's alright. Hang on. What's going on here? No, no captions, thank you. Alright, I'm just trying to get stuff going. Let me know how it sounds. It sounds alright. Screw it, let's go for it. Actually, yeah, I think I'm just going to go in low res for this one. Alright. Hello there. Welcome to my test world that I generated very quickly on a whim. Not a lot here, but there is a water temple there. That's got nothing to do with anything. I'm not going to be going to any water temples. So, yes. This is... Well, hang on. This section here is my B mod. Hello, Temporal. Yep, it's basically career bees, and I've always wanted to do a bee mod. You know, I mean, it's one of those sort of things that I didn't particularly like bees. You know, back in the day, just because they were so sort of obscure and how difficult to... Hello, Darks. Just because they were so difficult to use. But I was always curious and I wanted to sort of try them out, so I did, and I kind of got into them, unfortunately. So, you know, I always thought, how would I do bees? And the answer is, it turns out, in a very silly way. So yeah, here are all the bees I've got. So let's go through them. Let's start with the first one. This is the student bee. This is the entry tier, so that's common and cultivated. If you use a bookshelf underneath the hive, you've got a 100% chance of getting all the mutations. So that'll always give you a purebred student, student bees. I'll obviously be configuring that because this mod is incredibly OP at the moment. Like, it is stupidly OP. And to be honest, I kind of like that. So yeah, another thing is that all of these bees have something fun that they do. So for example, when you look at the student drone, his option is that you can do an unpaid student internship. So you shift right click a hive, and basically it'll do these little exclamation marks when there isn't a queen or, you know, a princess that's, you know, when there isn't a queen there. But now there's a queen there, they're happy, they keep quiet. So if you're doing a lot of breeding and, you know, you want to just, you know, not have to constantly keep checking on things, you can sort of tell at a glance when something needs to be updated. You know, so that's, you know, that's a fun little thing you can do with those. If you've got any questions, just feel free to ask. Yeah, so that's the first one. So, yeah, that's your entry one. There's several things you can do from here. Okay, there's two parts you can do. Student and common will either get you a graduate bees, or they'll get you collecting bees. And I don't know if you can see the icon for this is it's meant to be a womble from the Wombles of Wimbledon Common, but I don't know if that comes across, so I might change that as well. But yeah, so let's look at the graduate bees, because that's sort of where you're supposed to go for your first, you know, for your first sort of step. Let's get ourselves an analyzer, some honeydew. Alright, so you've got graduate bees. They got long life, slow production, slow pollination, 2 fertility, average territory. These are fairly sort of average traits, but look down here. Effect, retraining. What is this? Well, this is something that almost every single genotype will have. Every single species of bee will have. And this is a custom effect, which is something fun that they do. Usually, you know, related to their job. So these will restore the effect chromosomes of any purebred career bee if it has lost them. Just place it in a flower pedestal, and let me just show you what I mean here. Okay. Right, these are flower pedestals. Yes, they do have a crafting recipe. Just 3 sticks in any type of flower, and you put them there. And what you can do is you can right click there, and it'll hold any item you put there. So, and there's a lot of interesting things you can do with this, but let's keep it simple for now. So if you got a bee, you've bred it, but unfortunately it doesn't have the special traits such as, you know, retraining or any of the others would get to. You just put it in here, and the nearby graduate bees basically fly out, and they will find this, you know, flower, and they will correct any, you know, they'll put the effect back. So, you know, effects are free in this, you know, in this mod. Of course, the downside is that if you have an effect, it won't work for anything other than the career bee that it's assigned to. So no other bees can do retraining. So it's only the graduate bees that can do retraining. So even if you sort of breed them with the other bees to try to, you know, get a nice, you know, thing going, it won't work unless they are the correct type. Sorry, just hang on a moment. All right. So let's have a look here. Oh god, such a load of complex things here. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. Let's start with the Smelter. So that's a modest and requires a furnace as a foundation. That's pretty straightforward. This is probably a better example of the item frames. Sorry, the flower pedestals. I keep referring to placeholder names. So yes, here's a smelter, and their job is to cook things. So if you get some cobblestone, and you can place one on there. Let's get some... move out of the way. Let's get some frames. Oh! There you see, and... Yep, it has the nifty little flame particles, and you can put a hopper underneath, and that will sort of automatically pick them up. It'll only pick them up when it's started to, you know, when it's finished cooking, as it were. Yeah, so that's actually quite fast. So yeah, it's cooking up all this cobblestone, and yeah, that's what the smelters is doing. So that's a fun little thing. All right, let's see what else we got here. PhDs are, let's see now, that is a student and a graduate get you a PhD. Makes sense. I don't think the PhDs have any effects. I think they're just placeholder for the moment. But let's sort of go through some of these. Let's look at the artistic queen. And this one's not a particularly sophisticated one, but... And this one actually works quite slowly, so I'm just going to leave it here for a while. If an item can be cooked twice, I think it will stay in the thing. Hello, Dalvin. Sorry, yes. If an item can be cooked twice, I believe that it will stay in the thing. Hey, Ro. Okay, a lot of people showing up. I might do a quick recap of what I've already covered. These are my bees. My lovely bees. And so this is a fun one. If you have a hive and you want to see how... So yeah, and if you're doing breeding, very often you have to sort of go through a whole row of things and see which ones are finished. Well, if you take a student bee, which is common and cultivated, and you shift right click, that does an unpaid student internship. So it will watch the hive and alert when there's no queen. So you can just, if you shove a queen in there, it's happy. Yeah. And I don't think the artistic hives have done anything yet. So that's a fun thing. Now, actually, let's... Alright. Let's look at something a little bit more complicated, because flower pedestals can be made a little bit more sophisticated. So here's the ore crusher. Now, what the ore crusher does... Where's my analyzer? Yes, that has the effect crusher, and it grinds up any metal ores placed on the flower pedestals and gives 2 to 3 times dust. So they're very powerful. So if you put gold ore and you make a hopper to filter into it, it'll put it there. But as I'm sure you can see, this thing here, the smelter, this has, this is much faster because it's got frames in it. So it's going to, interfere. So how do you tell the bees which one is supposed to work on which flower? And you do that with pheromones. So here you can get a pheromone frame. And what this will do is that it will collect every sort of, every time it ticks, it's got a random chance to collect, a vial of pheromones. So let's just manually get these. So then you right click with that and it'll say, okay. Try that again. Right. So you specify ore crusher for this one, and basically that sort of locks it into a specific type. So if you put, try to put something on there that wasn't, the correct type, it's just going to stick. It's not even going to try to put it in. Why aren't you doing anything? Are you... Okay, so there we are. So it'll grind the gold up into dust, and this is a special texture that I add all ore dictionary, so don't worry about it. And that just shows it in there, and so using that you can build a pipeline, which only certain types can work on, and this has not created any pheromone. That should have done it by now. Huh. That's the trouble with bees, is everything takes a long time to do things. But yeah, that's how that works. I'll get it right sometime. Yep, there we go. So now you need a bee to make which makes other bees go faster. Funny you should mention that. Because, I might as well get onto it, we have temporal bees who are dressed up like Tom Baker. And these are sort of the top tier. This is the hardest one to make. So you use phantasmal and science bees. And yeah, if you look here, their lifespan is immortal. So they will actually... so the longest vanilla lifespan is 75. These will last for 3,000. So they're very long-lived bees. So you got to get, something that kills bees faster. And these have the accelerate trait, and that means that everything within a certain radius within their territory ticks faster. So it does specialized ticks. So if we've got some coal, that is noticeably faster than it should be. So yeah, it's already gone through quite a lot more than it did before. All right. Ah, dang it. All right, let's go through some other stuff here. All right, what have we got? What's a fun one? All right, let's just do armorer bees, and actually, let's also get. Where are they? Alright, this is sort of a family of bees. We've got armorer bees, which, yeah, I'll show you what they do. We've got repair bees, and we've got sharpening bees. So, I'm sort of fairly certain you can guess what these are supposed to do. if you got some bees here. Alright, let's just put a frame down. Chest plate. Diamond sword. And how am I going to do this? Alright, give I think that should be it. That should work. Yes, I think that's all good. Alright, so what that does is it gives an unlocalized text. God damn it. Okay, it's supposed to give additional modifiers. And it gives, you know, plus 33%. It does so gradually. Remember, everything's accelerated now because I've got the temporal bees. And this just repairs them. So that's 1330. Yeah. If you place 2 smelting pheromone pedestals near one apiary, will they work at half speed or both at full speed? Well, the way it works is that every, let's say, 300 ticks, the bee will look for a flower pedestal that has, you know, the correct pheromones and see if it's got the correct item, and if it does, it'll smelt it. So that's the way it works. Now the thing is, if you've got 2 flowers next to each other, it's 50-50 which one it will work on. So it's technically, you know, halved, you know, done in half. On the counter side, if you had 1 flower pedestal and say 20 apiaries around it, then it'll be 20 times faster because all of them will, you know, be ticking, you know, sort of over time. Although they probably would sort of, you know, trip over each other a bit, but, you know, that's fine. So already we're up to plus 50%, which is quite a lot, I have to admit. But, yeah. So it you know, this is quite a big buff to sort of to weapons and armor. So yeah, as I said, this is not meant to be a particularly balanced mod. There's a lot of stuff that is just, you know, just pure silliness. And all right, what next? We have police bees. And what do they do? Well, let me just get myself. What's a good one? Let's just get a creeper. And it will attack the creeper. And that makes it go a little bit faster. And it picks up, you know, the items that it drops. And it also makes a police incident report. Because, yeah, so day 1, 214, subject identified as creeper was caught trespassing in restricted areas. Subject was duly cautioned and then stung to death. Confiscated items, 2 gunpowder. And so it creates one of these every time. So you're going to have to filter those out. Luckily, I've made it so that they disappear. So, whoops, gunsling. So that they will, if you drop them on the ground, they disappear in like a second. So they're not, you know, if you break one, then you know, you're not going to be sort of flooded with. You, my friend, are really annoying. That is not how that should work. Anyway. And oh, okay, so police bees are graduate and valiant. And that makes police bees. But if you do police and sinister, you get thief bees. Now what do thief bees do? Well, let's just put that in here. And they are nocturnal, because of course they are. And yep, it's running. Oh. It's stealing from me. And it brings up a little message to tell me what it stole. So if you're really trolly, you can put one of these in your enemy, in the base of your enemies, and steal all their stuff. Though, just a warning, it does tell the player who the bee belongs to, if it's not yours. So yeah, that doesn't happen, and if you want to sort of prevent that from happening, you can wear apiarist armor, and it can't touch you. In fact, you only need to wear one piece of apiarist armor, and it'll leave you alone. But, take it off, and steals all the things. Okay, now, that's thief bees. What do you do if you get them? So what is a police and a thief? You get a tax collector. Okay, and tax collectors. I'm just going to put that in here. Yeah, you've got to make sure to stay on top of the incident reports, because they don't stack. And, yes. And what tax collector bees do is that they collect drops from mobs, but they don't kill them. And you can see it looks like it's taking damage, but it's actually not taking any damage at all. It's just getting a load of items from it. Now, just to sort of head off some of sort of the more obvious sort of things you might think, you can't use this to get wither stars, and also you technically can't use it to get any items that are unique to that entity. So it checks the loot tables basically, and it gets from from a generic wither skeleton. So if you put armor on this fellow, it won't he won't drop armor. So if you're thinking you can use this to dupe, you can't do that. Also, it won't work on any boss mobs. Anything that's marked as being a boss. Right. What to do next? We haven't done collecting bees. Missed that one. Collecting bees are fairly simple. Put them down. Give them frames to make them go faster. And what they will do... they will pick things up off the ground and just shove them in there. Fairly straightforward little thing. To be honest, I don't know how you do this sort of thing for a mob, for a mob farm, just because I've never seen it done just quite this way before. Because before we had loot tables, this was not really possible to do. All right, yes, we have lumber bees, and you got bark biter. Oh yes, another thing is that if you go to this one, you get some unlocalized stuff there, but you also get a little thing here that sort of describes it. This one's fairly self-explanatory in terms of what it does, but what you can do with this is so this one is Bark Biter, and it's kind of like similar to the tax collector in that, what the hell? I think I have frozen. So maybe let's oh dear. Have we crashed? I think we have crashed, so I'm just going to stop that. We have frozen for some reason. That's not good. I didn't get a crash report either. Work in progress. Let me just go back to here. Everybody dance. Come on. Do do do. Okay, this might take a bit of time. Let me just it looks like maybe Lumberjacks are a bit buggy. Come on. All right. Come on. Please don't crash. But it destroyed them. Has it? Well, it picks up Drop of Evil. Alright, so let's not look at Lumberjacks in particular, but basically what they do is they look nearby and they will make tree bark. Hello, LAN144. And so what you can do then is once you've done that, you can just take them and craft them back into a sort of a full block look. So it won't destroy the tree, is the point. I think we've got a few more. Alright, let's go with ones. And where is it? There we go. Oh, dang it. Bees are so fussy, they need all sorts of things. Yes, yes, Dalvin. The idea is that it's much less laggy because it's just making, you know, logs. So, I mean, it's not entirely free because it does have to, you know, look around it and see what's going on. Alright, what I haven't actually done anything with these in a while. Okay, so yes, what husbandry bees do is they will make animals fall in love. And they will breed and everything will be lovely. There is a limit. I think if there's, you know, too many animals around it, it won't. You know, it'll automatically stop just for security. And then we have butcher queens. Guess what they do? Sorry, I missed it. They kill animals. And they will always leave 2 alive. And the collector bees will collect the produce. So yeah, you can make a very simple automated farm this way. One that will, you know, work for a while. Of course, you do have to worry about, you know, these bees will die eventually and you have to replace them. But yeah, that's the name of the game. So yeah, if you want to make a, you know, a fun little animal farm, that's the way you can do it. Let's see now, these are business bees, and currently they do nothing. Oh yes, pixel amusement. The butchers will leave 2 animals alive of each type. So if you've got a bunch of cows and sheep, it will leave 2 sheep and 2 cows alive, and 2 pigs or however many. So, you know, I'm glad I did think of that one. But yeah, it does catch that. You know, they're smart enough not to murder all of them. And I think it ignores the babies. I think the babies are not counted as, you know, alive, as it were. I mean, you know, they're not. The babies aren't targets for butchery or, you know. And I think it will prioritize animals that have recently bred over animals that are ready to breed. Yeah. And now we have, what's next? Yenta bees. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen Fiddler on the Roof. Yenta is a character who is the matchmaker in that series. In that show. Technically, she's not. Yenta is not a job, although, you know, I always thought it was. But apparently, Yenta is her name. But anyway, Yenta is matchmaker, and Yenta will. So you get a Yenta princess, and you shift right click, and Yenta will watch this hive and find husbands for the young princesses. So she will play matchmaker for these bees when they, you know, when it's time to breed them again. Now, let's make that happen a little bit faster. And for that, we have poison frames. I think the recipe... Is that a correct recipe? Maybe it isn't. So yeah, you put these in here, and they're actually really effective at reducing... And they will effectively reduce the speed of the lifespan quite significantly of any bees. Oh, there we go. Only problem is that whenever they tick, they release poison. because they are literally poisonous. So yeah, hello. So yeah, you're going to have to be careful for that. Oh yes, and if you look here, the bees are bred, and Yenta has chosen the best bee, the best drone, and bred it with the princess. And she did it again. And there's a bit of an algorithm for sort of, it's a bit weighted as to how she judges it. But basically she likes species that are more complex, that sort of require more to, more steps to, to breed. And she also tries to aim to make purebreds. So it's basically a fairly automated form of breeding. You have to come along every now and again and, check out the, make sure there's no, that the thing isn't too full. That's the word. And I don't think Yenta doesn't have any sort of personal effect. That's just all she does. Rainbow Queens. Oh, yeah. That's a little cloud that appears whenever the poison happens. It's supposed to be green. It will be green at some point, but apparently not now. Rainbow Queens. They create dyes. And unfortunately, JIBs can't actually show it'll do all 16 types, but the sort of it will sort of focus on the sort of I believe it focuses on secondary colors and then primary, and it will only do lapis very rarely. But that creates a lot of dyes of various types, and that is an artistic and PhD, and that gives you a rainbow. Which, I don't know if might refine that a bit, but yeah. Mason, what do these do? These are... yes, exactly. Well, now that I've had a heart attack, Mason bees will turn cobblestone into stone brick. And I'm hoping that I'll sort of maybe add some compatibility with Chisel mod, because that's sort of one of the things I've got planned. Is over here we have settings frame, and if you look at, say, yeah, so the idea is that this is a frame that you put inside the thing, and it'll and it'll give directions to the bees, and it's very work in progress at the moment. So yeah, so you can filter either based on item stack, and you can put a item in there, and then you can filter by metal or filter by NBT, and you can void the excess, or you can filter by all dictionary name, and there will be a text box here where you can type in what it's supposed to be, but there isn't at the moment because this is very work in progress, and I hate doing GUIs. They're awful. Yeah. But that's planned, not in yet. Eventually you'll be able to control the sort of stuff like the territory of all the bees, put caps on, how fast it... Here we go. Finally starts doing something. This is what the artistic bees do, is they will... Let me just put that on there. So yeah, Yenta will keep breeding. They put random paintings up in places, which is completely pointless. But if you ever want to put a bunch of paintings up, you can do that. Just in case. What else can we do? Where are we? Right, where are we now? We are... Next we have science bees, which are PhD and industrious. And currently these do nothing. These are a crafting component for Temporal. I will add to these at some point. Right. Doctor is PhD in Majestic. I'll probably put a... I don't know what the term is, but, you know, a medical student step in there. Maybe have, like, year 1 medical student, year 2 medical student, year 3 medical... all the way up to year 7 medical student. And I'm sure that won't be annoying to breed. And then you get Doctor Queens. And what do Dr. Queens do? If I remember correctly, they're actually fairly boring. They just give you regen. Yep. Regeneration. And they give you a lot of it. Well, not terribly interesting, but there is another one. So there's Sinister. And that gives Plague Bees. Which is one of my favorite models. Oh yeah, this mod is going to be super OP with pretty much everything. Just trying to remember what this thing does. Oh yes. Plague bees will cure any negative effects that you have, that you're nearby, provided it can be cured with milk. But yeah, it'll... You know, or at least, no, it's not if it can be cured with milk, as long as it can be cured with something, it will cure it. Because there are some things which can't be cured, and yeah, it's silly. Anyway. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. That's another thing, you know. One of the things I'd like is to have it so that you could use this to sort of make a whole base. You know, so pretty much everything you can do. So engineer, PhD, noble gives you engineer. And engineers I think are also placeholder. And at the moment, they do clockwork, they do miner. So let's do miner first. And what do miners do? Well, if you want to quarry, here's your quarry. It will only drill for blocks that are ore dictionary to be, you know, ore blocks. So it'll get iron ore, but it won't get stuff like stone or cobblestone or anything. So it's a little bit limited, but it'll pick up all sorts of fun things. And you've got variations which are silky and fortunate. And these do something similar. Oh, that's a wrong type. So yeah, these will get you loads of resources, super OP. Thanks, Pops. Pops 73. He's not my actual Pops. Yeah, no, I'm not very good at taking compliments, I'm afraid. But anyway, I'm very grateful that you enjoy my mods, and yeah, right. Clockwork bees. What do these do? Well, this is your... Yes, this is my Direwolf 20 skin. That is exactly what that is. So now we have Clockwork bees. Can you guess what these do? Well, these are your introductory power source, which is actually probably kind of redundant because forestry already has a power source. But yeah, these will basically wind up any clockwork engines that are nearby, and I think they will... Okay, I think it's... I'm trying to remember how they work. I think they'll only do 2 each, or maybe they'll do more. I can't remember exactly how the mechanics work. It's been a while since I've worked on it. Can you make a bee to troll your friends? Asking for a friend. Well, if you're asking for a friend, then clearly that friend wants to troll you. So you probably shouldn't tell him. But if you want to troll your friends, here's a nice little fellow. It's called the Thief. Thief Bee. I always forget about frames. That's not how you do things. Oh no! One of your thief bees stole your carpenter, and your cobblestone, and your iron ore. Yep, so you put this in the base, inside a wall, you give it cave dwelling first, and your friend gets that message. Although, to be fair, it will tell them that it's your bees. Well, there is a Saurin bee, but I'm not going to show that off here. I want him to see it. It basically spawns into his inventory when he logs on, and I'd like him to experience that for himself. And there's also dire bees, which will spawn in Dire's inventory. Chef Queens. Actually, let's just look at Chef Queens. That's the queen with the golden hat, white hat, and silver hat. Now, what do chef bees do? Now, you might think, oh, they cook food. Well, no. Because that's what the smelter does. The smelter cooks food. What do these guys do? This is actually quite convoluted, so... Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay. Now, that's close enough. So you put a cooked piece of food in there, and you'll notice these little yellow particles, so it's doing something to the potato. But what could it be? And if you look down there, honey glazing. 2 absorption hearts. So, go into game mode 0. You can eat that. And it gives you, when the text goes away, there we go, it gives you 2 absorption hearts. And you can eat and if it's got absorption hearts, then you can eat it even if you're at max hunger. Took me a while to figure out how to make it do that, but god damn it, it works now. So yes. Yeah, anyway, they cover your food with honey, and that honey gives you 2 little hearts of, absorption, so that you can take 2 hearts of damage for free. And the other thing is that the better the type of food, the max you can put on there. So for this one you can put, I forget how many on there, but if you had, say, steak, no, actually cooked pork chop, which I don't know if, is it automatable? Yes, it is. So you can just, yes, I think I'll repeat this for those who weren't here earlier. You can do that, and it'll automatically pick it up once it's done cooking. It doesn't do it all at once. It basically adds a heart each time it ticks. What about using a golden apple? I'm not sure offhand. That should just give you an additional thing, because the golden apple gives you the absorption potion effect, which is temporary. Because that's the nice thing about these hearts, is that they are not temporary. They're not tied to the regeneration effect or whatever it is. 4.75. Yeah, 4.75 is the max you can get on potato. I think you can get something like 7 on these. Yeah, so that will give me, well, it gives me 2 hearts. I think one of those is related to that work. God damn it, stupid. Yes, sorry, it is permanent until it is used or you die or something like that. Yeah, basically until you take damage. Which I think is, I think that's better that way. I feel that's how it should work for, the vanilla things, just because, don't worry, flower pedestals can grow anywhere. They can grow on metal. It's like, because small nutrients tend to get the thing to, I don't know, they're the suspension of disbelief. I think we're getting pretty close to the end now. What have we done? The last one is, I think it's the Energy Queen is the last one we haven't done yet. And what do Energy Queens do? Can you guess? Flowers. Yeah, and these will basically output energy to whatever side's nearby. Now they don't put out much energy when they're just like this, but if you put frames in there, that will make it go much faster. Should do anyway. Yeah, well, they do something anyway. And if you put them in a proper alveary, let me just get an alveary here. And now we have another thing that's new. Well, it's not new at all. I think Extra Bees had these a long time ago, but I figured I'd just add them in because, it's a neat little sort of starting point for adding other stuff. Yeah, you can build an alveary and get energy things here and energy bees, and just put that next to it, and Where is it? There it is. And yeah, you can put frames in here and it'll work. Is it compatible with Gendustry? Well, short answer is yes. In fact, I do have Gendustry here. Oh, 10,000. Making 10,000 each. So yeah, you could, I don't know, what should I do? What should I do? Let's put... I'm just debating what to put here. Let's put artistic bees. And then, no, upgrades. With the production. I always forget what these things look like. Which one is the production? That's what it is. Yeah. No flowers. Well, I think there's one there, but alright. Because forestry's got a fairly... No, it is not self-powered. That's a little sort of wrinkle for the energy bees, is that they don't power the alveoli they're in. And that's intentional. That is, you know, an intentional part of the way they work. So you would have to, if you wanted to do that, put two right next to each other. But if you did that, then they will power each other and keep things working. Which is a little silly, but... no. This mod is not exactly serious business. Is that it? Oh yes, and if you have student bees, and you shift right click on that, student bees and yenta bees will work with these as well. And you put a queen in there and they'll keep quiet. Alright, and I think that's about it at the moment. So yeah, in terms of what I plan to do sort of with this mod in general, I'm going to add a lot more stuff to it, especially stuff related to the sort of business bees. You know, sort of, you know, do the sort of the classic liberal arts, you know, sort of science, business, engineering, you know, sort of career-based stuff. I also plan to put cybernetic bees in there somewhere. Not sure where offhand, but that should be fun. And yeah. So I'm also sort of... I've also got some other stuff, like, for example, a mutation frame, which makes stuff mutate better. There's the setting frame, which I showed off earlier, and hopefully that will be... let's see if I can find one. Yeah, which you can use to, you know, to do a settings there, and you do give up a little bit of speed, but that's life, isn't it? Yeah, so I mean, does anyone have any questions on what I'm going to be doing? No, the cybernetics will not do it. Is there a fisherman bee? There can be. There certainly can be. I think that's probably a very good idea. I will add a fisherman bee. Yeah, fisherman bees will probably be a thing. And ludicrously OP. Oh, yes, and the other one, I knew I was forgetting something. Alright, here we are. You have bee armor, which doesn't have a recipe yet or even a proper model yet. And I'm not entirely happy with how it looks, but whatever. So you can dress up as a bee-themed supervillain. Or at least that's the plan once I actually make this model look not terrible. I might actually commission someone to do that for me, because modeling is... Minecraft modeling is a thing. Is this an experimental mod? Well, kinda, but I think I will probably be maintaining it. It's not going to be a, you know, a one-off thing. Kind of like, what was it, Hexagonal Heresy. Oh yeah, the bee armor will allow you to fly like a bee. You know. And it'll come with a cape. No. No capes. Is there a bee that shears leaves? There is a lumber bee which will make, you know, the things, you know, which does things, but I don't know if there'll be a sheared thing. I mean, that might be a little OP because we do have tree breeding. So I'd have to think about sort of all the consequences of that. Yes. A bee that can sacrifice its own pristine state to make an item to make an ignoble bee pristine. I don't know. I mean, it's a decent idea, but the trouble is that I feel the better way to do that would be to make it so that you copy the bee's genetics into the pristine one. And I think genetic manipulation is more stuff like gendestry and so on. Which it's not what this mod is about. This mod is not about genetic manipulation. Which, you know, Pixel, I'm not saying, you know, it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that's not what this mod is about. This mod is about bees that, you know, do things. Usually very silly, very OP things. Let's see if I can find the... A Robin Hood bee saves the ignoble bees from dying. Maybe that's what the doctoral bees will do. Well, I already had... Well, I mean, I've also had this half in mind to make the... where are they? The temporal bees, which I put this temporal queen in here about, I don't know, you know, basically when I started the stream, and the temporal queen still hasn't died. That is how long their lifespan is. They are immortal. Yeah, it's been about, oh god, Has it really been that long? Yeah, so they do not die quickly. They last for a very long time, so you got to get something that kills them. In fact, one of my ideas was to be that, like, to do some silly, hacky system whereby it keeps track of the dairy bees. That is a good idea. Dairy bees. I should write this down. Oh, no, I'll remember it. Just make it so that when this life bar here reaches, about this, this far above it, it regenerates to full, and it does that 13 times. So, but in order to, in order to do that, you would have to keep track of each hive that might potentially have the immortal gene, and just, then you might sort of trip up something that gets, something that's, you might trip up something in reflection. I don't know. It's always tricky to know what to do with those sort of things, and I think 3,000. A 3,000-year-old bee is quite reasonable. And there's also, I'm also sort of vaguely thinking about a system whereby it'll give special mutations, whereby just if you put a special frame in a hive. I'm actually partly thinking out loud here. If you put a special frame in a hive, very randomly, the offspring produced will have a very strange gene. So it might have like a legendary speed, or it might be agoraphobic, which means it's got no territory. Anyway, that's something to think about. Anyway, well, I've missed a few things. A liquid collector bee, that is certainly possible, although I don't know if forestry really sort of handles the notion of bees sort of doing things pretty well. It doesn't handle liquids particularly well. Lonely bees that won't let animals wander away from them. You mean like shepherd bees? You could do that. You could just build a fence. But, I know what I suppose I get what you mean. Like, if you sort of break a fence, they're not doing it. But very often they'll rush outside because their AI has sort of, it's told it, move to a point outside here. Just wander outside. And the moment it sees a thing there, it'll go through. Ooh, healing zombie villagers. That's a good idea. You gotta have the plague doctors bees do that. What else? Uranium frames. That's. Hang on a minute. Isn't there a? What is it? Isn't there a vanilla bee that has something that's radiation or something based? Don't remember. It's an effect that like eats away at things. I could tie it into that. Let me just. I'm not seeing it. Never mind. Where was I? Fences are simple and practical. I don't really see the point of adding a bee that, is basically does, the job of a, thing. I'm going to, oh yes, another fun one I thought of is force field bees, which which will basically project a force field around them. And I found a nice way of doing that, so that, basically there's a collisions event in Forge, and you can basically add in collisions. So you can actually create like a surface to walk on, like in thin air, like no blocks required. Now, that's pretty cool. I've wanted to do something with that, but I haven't actually managed to do it yet. Liquid collecting bees might produce wax capsules filled with liquid. Yeah, is that another thing? Yes, that is a wax capsule. Beeswax is fairly slow to get, though. I mean, if you're sort of doing thousands of gallons of water, I don't know if wax capsules would be the best storage medium. It would be a little silly for it to be producing so much wax. So I think what I'd do is I'm going to add like an attachment thing, a liquid attachment block that you put next to the thing, and it outputs liquids to there. In fact, I'll probably put a similar one for items, where the career bees will output their special drops to, like, an attachment block you put next to it. Mad scientist bees for making charged creepers and other fun stuff. Ooh. Mad science! Yes. Mad science is always a good thing. We are definitely going to do something like that. A golfer bee. Is golfing really a job? Yeah, there's other considerations I've got, like how am I going to sort of find a way to make I mean, okay, yeah, golfing can be a job, like if you're a professional athlete, but it's it's a sport primarily, not a a thing. So oh hey Emma, I think I'm pretty much done here, so I might be wrapping up soon. Yeah, I've got a lot of cool bees, and they're all the being things. They are being all they can be. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I might make the student bees just check to see if it's filled up and do alerts if it's filled. Oh yes, how is the quality? Is it much improvement? I managed to get a Blue Yeti microphone on the cheap, and I don't know how it works, for these sort of things, but oh no, yeah, because last time it was my headset mic. That was pretty terrible. Yeah, I'll probably do farming bees or something fun with that. Got pheromones here. There anything else I did? There's going to be honeycomb. The warning is only visual. You can't do redstone signals using that method. It is... Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could if you were willing to do something very hacky and cool moddy, but no. I'm not going to do that. Facecam, probably never. Got a pretty ugly face. But if I did do it, I would do it in a very strange and weird way that people would be like, what the hell is he doing? And anyway, honeycomb ingots, which is not how you spell honeycomb, I just noticed. And those are going to be created by something in the future. Oh no, metallurgy, and those you make the armors with. So yeah, I'm going to do an initial release either tonight or tomorrow. I'm just going to look into the lumber bees because apparently that is freezing the game, which is not good. That's really not supposed to happen. I'm just going to make sure it works on servers. I'm 99% sure it does, but I'm just going to go through, basically do what I did now. And then I'll make a page for it, I'll make a logo or something. Maybe I'll just use the graduate bees as a logo. And yeah, you should be able to play with it. I mean, I don't know like what sort of packs would be interested in including this, because it's OP, it breaks a lot of things. But I might add configurables and all sorts of things so you can tone it down a bit. But I don't know. I don't want this to be a hardcore mod. I just want this to be a fun mod. You know, a fun, silly mod. Though I do have, I've got some plans for something that's more hardcore. Like, something that's genuinely going to be difficult. I don't know what this FPS thing is. If it's a bug thing, I'll get to it when I get to it. I do check the issue tracker. I just don't ever do anything with it because I don't know. At this point, it's embarrassing. A Twitter bee tweets. Yeah, randomly, you link it with your Twitter account, and it'll, you know, just tweet out random things it sees. It can be the most obnoxious thing ever. I suppose a Twitter bee could be something like a student bee that just sends you a chat message when your thing is done. Like a nice student variation. GIF bees. GIFing is never going to be a job. GIFing will always be a waste of time. And always awful and terrible. And you should never do it, even though I do it. I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, so there's this is Bee Demonstration Island in the shape of a, I don't know what that's the shape of, like Asia or something. I mean, not South America. Yeah, it's mini South America. There we are. A neural network to identify memes and give you power in exchange, just for laughs. Wow, that is that is a terrible idea, which, because it's a meme thing, that makes it a great idea, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, everybody dance now. Yay, dance. dance, 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 and dance. And I think that is it. I don't know, see you sometime when I see you. So, see y'all, have fun, and don't get into too much trouble. Good night.